Last time I asked this question, you sat down with a smug grin after just saying yes. Yeah, and it was fucking awesome. Yeah, and it was awesome. Possibly the most Lib Dem Houses of Parliament comment I've ever heard. Ed Davey is my fucking guy. Bring up Nathan Gill in the House of Commons. Let's go.
It's marvellous to see the intellectual levels of debate in this place. It really is.
The most nothing irrelevant issue ever. The most nothing irrelevant bullshit issue ever. Never seen so many liberal Democrats in my life. They're all here for you, buddy. They're all here for you. What's happened today? Well, it was PMQs. That's a big one. As everyone knows, Prime Minister's Questions happens pretty much every week on Wednesday. Keir Starmer takes questions from the rest of the MPs. Has like a little, they have like a little mini debate, a little back and forth between the two party leaders, between Keir and Kemi. And today, it was about the budget, I believe. The budget. The upcoming budget in November. So people who don't know, guys, okay, when Labour got elected in their landslide general election win last year, they put forth a manifesto that had a promise not to raise the, like, 3 key taxes for working people, which are VAT, income tax, something else. Council tax? I'm not sure. I can't remember. It won't be council tax because that's set by councils. What were the 3 taxes? Income tax, national insurance, and VAT. That was it. National insurance was the other one. That was it. Of course. You know, on that note, I actually heard Rory talk about the idea of merging national insurance and income tax. And I think I'm on board. Actually. It's a very unpopular policy. It's a very unpopular policy. People just, and I had an aversion to it initially because I was like, well, why would you want to do that? But no, you do actually kind of want to do that. You do actually kind of want to do that just because it's like a stupid way of taxing, and you want to have more. Like if you merge them, you can just have more control and fine tuning over how you tax and how you collect revenue. So, I'm kind of on board with that. So we probably should actually do that. Regardless, yeah, it's national insurance, VAT, and income tax. They will not raise. Or at least that's what they said in their manifesto. And about a month ago, or 2 months ago, just before the Labour Party conference, everyone was going on TV, all the Labour ministers were going on TV, and they were always being asked the question, do you stand by your pledge in the manifesto to not raise those 3 key taxes? Even though, because basically it was this whole thing where not only was there this black hole in the finances left by the Tories, where basically there's a bunch of money unaccountable that wasn't accounted for. They had to make up a bunch of money and balance the books, about trillions of fucking pounds or some shit. There's this like massive black hole in the budget, or is it billions? I can't remember. Massive black hole in the budget. They have to make it back the money. Now that might have been okay. That might have been fine. But then there's also the OBR. The Office of Budget Responsibility, which is like an independent office that evaluates the like economic performance of the UK and how much the budget can, you know, pay for. Basically, they've been overestimating the UK's performance for like the last decade, and everyone knew it. Every other financial institution knew it, but they waited for so fucking long to downgrade the performance and only just did it like last month. So basically totally screwed Rachel Reeves, completely fucked Rachel Reeves, made everything worse, and it's looking basically like they have to raise taxes. So when they were talking before the party conference like last month, they were like, the manifesto stands, manifesto stands. And then Darren Jones, the GOAT, has an interview where he says, the manifesto stands today. And it was like, okay, all right. And everyone knew where it was going. Everyone knew where it was going. So the manifesto stands today. We have not, the OBR has not yet downgraded the financial performance of the UK. So as of right now, the manifesto stands. But everyone knew what was going to happen. Everyone knew. So that's what they're facing questions about today is, are you going to break those promises? So let's have a look.
Both the Foreign Secretary and I have been in close contact with our Jamaican counterparts in recent days to offer the UK's full support. Mr. Speaker, I can update the House that HMS Trent and specialist rapid deployment teams are pre-positioned in the region, and we stand ready to provide humanitarian support. Mr. Speaker, Awab Ishaq died 5 years ago from a respiratory condition caused by exposure to black mould in his flat in Rochdale. He was just 2 years old. No child should grow up without the safety and security of a decent home. For far too long, millions of people have lived at the mercy of rogue landlords and insecure contracts. Labour is ending that. Despite the best efforts of the Tories and Reform who voted against it, our Renters' Rights Act is now law, including Awab's law. Fighting for working people, that's the difference a Labour government makes. And on that issue...
So the Renters' Rights Law is actually pretty good, and they're like expanding some of the restrictions to private as well, because I believe some of them were only for social housing initially. Basically, this kid died because he was exposed to black mold in social housing, so they brought in some legislation that says if you're in social housing, the landlord has to fix like emergency issues within 24 hours. So like if there's something like damp or black mold or whatever, you have to be getting responses and like shit fixed within 24 hours. They can't like keep putting you off.
Mr. Speaker, this government has secured the biggest deal to manufacture Typhoon fighter jets in this country for almost 20 years. We secured that deal because the UK is back as a leading and trusted member of NATO. A timely reminder for the Green Party, whose policy is to take us out of NATO, the Putin-friendly Reform Party, who would have no standing with NATO, and for the leader of the opposition, you don't win NATO deals by not turning up to NATO summits. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, can I associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks about supporting Jamaica? Across our country and in Blaenau Gwent and Rumney, off-road bikers are a menace. They tear up our environment and turn our streets into racetracks. After years of Tory cuts, Gwent police are tackling this now. So does the Prime Minister agree with me that police forces and communities like mine are seeing the difference that Labour can make in power?
Well, I share my honourable friend's determination that...
So yeah, obviously, you know, I don't know if you guys know how House of Commons works, but Labour MPs can stand up and ask questions that basically just, like, you know, suck off care and say, like, oh, aren't Labour so fucking awesome? Don't we make such a difference? So that's what they do.
Everyone feels safe and secure in their community. Neighbourhood policing was decimated by the party opposite, and we're restoring it with 3,000 extra officers by spring. We're also giving them the powers, Mr. Speaker, they need, including tough new respect orders that allow the police to seize and destroy vehicles within 48 hours. The Tories walked through the lobbies with Reform in voting against our crime and policing bill.
The opposition, Kemi Byrne.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last year, in its manifesto, Labour promised not to increase income tax, not to increase national insurance, and not to increase VAT. Does the Prime Minister still stand by his promises?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm glad that the Leader of the Opposition is now finally talking about the economy. I can update the House, Mr. Speaker. Retail sales are higher than expected. Inflation is lower than expected.
Yeah.
Growth has been upgraded this year.
Now that's not quite... No, this is quite what you were asked, but we love hearing it.
And, Mr. Speaker, the UK stock market is at an all-time high. The budget is on the 26th of November, and we will lay out our plans. But I can tell the House now that we will build a stronger economy, we will cut NHS waiting lists, and deliver a better future for our country.
Well, Mr. Speaker.
No response
what a
to that,
fascinating answer. It is not the same answer that I received when I asked exactly the same question, word for word, on the 9th of July. Then the Prime Minister replied with just one word, yes, and then he sat down with a smug grin on his face. What's changed in the past 4 months?
Mr. Speaker, as she well knows, no Prime Minister or Chancellor will ever set out their plans in advance. But, Mr. Speaker, I can say this, Mr. Speaker, because the figures on the productivity review...
I'm sorry. Kemi is just seething. Well, someone asked this question. You sat down with a smug grin after just saying yes. Yeah, and it was fucking awesome. Yeah, and it was awesome. And listen, once we got around to the OBR forecast change, once everyone knew that was happening, I'm sorry. Everyone understood the game. We all know the score. Come on now.
Review that's being undertaken. This is a judgment on their record in office. Those figures are now coming through, and they confirm that the Tories did even more damage to the economy than we previously thought. Now, we will turn that around. We've already delivered the fastest growth in the G7 in the first half of this year. 5 interest rate cuts in a row. Trade deals with the US, EU and India. They broke the economy. We're fixing it.
Mr. Speaker, he says no Prime Minister or Chancellor will say these things before the budget. Has he told his Chancellor? Because she's been out there flying kites, causing constant speculation around the budget that is damaging the economy. All week, they've been briefing about tax rises. What we've heard is that he does not have a plan. So we have some ideas for him. Yes. Yesterday, they can...
So this is like the cheapest play ever. Like weeks before the budget, you try and go like, oh, you haven't got a plan, so here's some ideas for you. And then you obviously just gotta try and preempt the shit that's good ideas that they're likely to do, so that once they do it, you can turn and go, oh, well, they just stole that from us because we told them to do that. Like that, it's like the most albeit fucking transparent shit in the world.
Yes.
So gay.
Mr. Speaker, it's quite clear that they need some ideas. Yes. On this side of the House, we believe in scrapping taxes on family homes. Yesterday, we voted to abolish stamp duty. They voted against it. Even the Deputy Prime Minister, or the former Deputy Prime Minister, who resigned in disgrace for not paying stamp duty, voted to keep it. So, Mr. Speaker, I will remind them, on this side of the House, we know that abolishing stamp duty is how we get young people on the housing ladder and get the economy growing. So why won't he scrap this terrible tax?
Well, I mean, you can scrap stamp duty, but it would need to be replaced with some other kind of property tax, right? You would want like a land value tax or something, probably. I actually kind of do want a land value tax, I'm going to be real. I don't know about anyone else. Kind of in favor of a land value tax. I've heard Rory kind of saying it was a bad idea, but I actually like the idea. I feel like, you know, you want to almost have... When we've got issues with, like, you know, a lot of... Like, obviously in London, it's an issue with having empty property. That's, like, owned as just, like, speculative assets and shit. But you want people moving around, I feel like. You want home sales. You want people feeling like they have to sell land, or, like, otherwise they have to pay money to the government. If they're not, then you get the money from it. Like, it's just you want a bit more, you know, movement in the housing market, I feel like.
Why didn't they do it then in 14 years in office? Mr. Speaker, as I said, the productivity review figures are now coming in, and they show the true extent of the damage that they did. And she asked us to take advice from them. We all know these figures are coming out. We all know that austerity damaged the economy on their watch. The botched Brexit deal damaged the economy on their watch. Liz Truss's mini-budget damaged the economy on their watch. So we'll take no lectures or advice from them on the economy. They won't be trusted on the economy for generations to come. And, Mr. Speaker, that's why at our budget, I can be clear, there will be no return to austerity. That's what broke the country. No return to the instability of their mad borrowing spree. And we'll end the unfairness and low growth that squeeze living standards for working people. That's the path to national renewal.
Mr. Speaker, Conservatives reduced the deficit every year until the pandemic. We more than doubled the personal allowance. We left 4 million more jobs than we found from Labour. We brought inflation down to 2%. It's nearly double.
Mr. Tufnell, you're in my sights. The pantomime season has arrived, so don't start it too early.
Mr. Speaker, on our record, we brought inflation down to 2%. It has doubled under him. We left him the fastest growing economy in the G7. It is no longer. The truth is, they have no ideas. We're giving them some. There is another way to get growth. It's cutting welfare spending and getting people into work.
Yeah, they tried
Last
that.
month, I offered to work cross-party with him to bring down welfare spending because he knows, and we know, that he'd rather dip into people's pockets than upset those people behind him. Instead of tax rises, will he work with us to find a way to cut welfare spending and get Britain working?
Welfare spending cuts are inevitable, Cammy. Obviously, this bitch is so annoying. It's so fucking annoying. Like, you are just being a fucking irritant. Because everyone knows. No one's under any delusions. Only the Greens are under any delusion about welfare spending. Everyone else understands. Welfare spending is out of fucking control in this country. Everyone else understands that. It's only the fucking Greens and the hard left of Labour. As party leaders, Kemi, Keir, probably Farage, I just see him, I don't know, Farage is a fucking retard, who gives a fuck what Farage thinks, Davey, all understand that welfare spending has to be cut. And all the front benchers understand too. So, the idea that it's like, oh, well, welfare spending has to be cut, yeah, everyone knows that, Kemi, everyone knows.
Again.
Mr. Speaker, she talks about their record. Let's go through it. They crashed the economy. Inflation.
No, our welfare spending is actually out of control. We have like an absurd proportion of like 18 to 25-year-olds claiming like disability and shit. Like way more than basically any other European country. And our number, like basically in like all European countries, it went up after COVID, year again after COVID, and ours never came down. Everyone else came down.
Went up to 11%. Mortgages went through the roof. Welfare spending went up £33 billion on them, and they want to give us advice. And they reduced the UK to a large.
I think the requirements should be stricter. And there should be more pressure applied to get you into work. Pressure and help applied to get you into work.
Laughing stock. Because of our budget, Mr. Speaker, waiting lists have come down, wages are up, mortgage rates are down, and other countries want to do deals with us. Just on Monday of this week, the Turkish government signed an £8 billion deal for typhoons. Earlier this year, the Norway government a £10 billion for frigates. That is because of the budget that we passed, fixing the mess that they left.
Mr. Speaker, it's not because of the budget that he passed. I started that deal back in January 2024. But I welcome it. There are some things, Mr. Speaker, it's got nothing to do with their budget. We're lucky it's still happening. So I welcome the £8 billion deal that he's done with Turkey. But I will remind him that just last month, his Chancellor borrowed £20 billion. He'll have to sell a hell of a lot more jets to make up for that. And he won't rule out any tax rises. He can't cut spending. He is increasing unemployment. This man knows nothing about economic growth except how to destroy it. In his weakness, Mr. Speaker, he has caved into the unions with their regulations that will cripple businesses, costing them £5 billion every year. Yes, please do speak up, because I want every single business out there to hear Labour MPs heckling when we talk about the damage that they are doing. So I ask the Prime Minister, how on earth can he consider adding more burdens for these firms to deal with?
Mr. Speaker, she's overlooked the fact that we had the highest growth in the G7 the first 6 months of this year, and that growth's just been upgraded. 3 interest rate cuts. Mr. Speaker, we're not going to take lessons from them. She's now introduced what I understand to be, I think she calls it a golden economic rule, this golden rule that she's now putting forward, very golden. £47 billion, Mr. Speaker, of unspecified spending cuts with no detail whatsoever. Mr. Speaker, let me put that in context. That would be 85,000 fewer nurses, 234,000 fewer teachers, or cutting every police officer in the country twice over. No wonder the Institute for Government said she's on shaky foundations. That's exactly what caused the problem in the first place.
Mr. Speaker, the fact that he has to stand there and make stuff up just shows what kind of Prime Minister he is. We had an itemized list. We had an itemized list of 47 billion. 23 billion was on welfare spending, which I asked him to work with us to cut. He refuses to do so. All he knows how to do is tax, tax, tax. If you work, they tax you.
I'm gonna be real. Why the fuck would they work with the Tories on welfare cuts exactly? That does, like, I'm sorry. If you want welfare cut, if Kemi wants the actual policy to go through now, the best thing she can do is shut the fuck up. That's actually the best thing she... But they don't want it to go through, obviously. They want the party in power to suffer. That's obviously what they want. Because the reality is, if Keir goes and works with Kemi on welfare reform, his backbenchers are going to fucking hate it. Because they already call him a fucking red Tory and all this shit. So they're going to fucking hate it. And they will never vote for it. So it kind of has to be a Labour thing. Has to be a Labour thing. Where Keir brings the backbenchers on board with his ideas for welfare reform. That it can't be a Labour. You're going to vote for welfare cuts anyway. Now, whatever happens, the Tories will vote for the welfare cuts. They're not going to be like, no, we're not voting for the welfare cuts. That ain't happening. So why the fuck would he spend his time working with you? No, he needs to get his fucking backbenchers on board.
More. If you save, they tax you more. If you buy a home, they tax you more. None of these taxes were in the manifesto, which he had 4 years to prepare.
Firsty, like, truly, stop saying retarded shit. Think before you type, otherwise I will time you out. If it's a good idea, it should be done regardless of who gets partial credit for it. Not relevant to anything that was just said there, dude. Not relevant to anything that was just said. Backbench Labour MPs have highly left-wing voter bases. They are on the left, a lot of them are on the left of the party. They have highly left-wing voter bases. They have impoverished voter bases that rely on welfare. They will not vote for Tory bipartisan welfare reforms. So it's not a matter of, oh, well, we can't let them get credit for it. It's a matter of, we can't do it. They won't vote for it.
Mr. Speaker, he is raising taxes because he is too weak to control spending. He's blaming us, he's blaming the OBR. Last week they were blaming Brexit. Isn't the truth that with this Prime Minister, it's always someone else's fault?
They were kicked out of office because they broke the economy. They won't be trusted for years to come. She can't tell us what her position is on the last budget, and she's got a phantom £47 billion with no foundation as we go forward. That's exactly the mess that they caused. They've not changed one bit. Meanwhile, we're fixing their mess. 5 million extra NHS appointments, 5 interest rate cuts, growth and wages up. That's a change the Labour government made.
Jeff Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As Palestinians try and rebuild their lives amid the rubble of...
Okay, so that's the exchange about the budget. I think there is some more that we need to see here. Now, he talks to Ed Davey. Maybe watch the Ed Davey bit. But there was, I believe, some thing that happened between Reform and the Lib Dems in Parliament today. Let's see what Davey's got to say. Let's see Davey talk.
Thank you.
We come to the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Sir Ed Davey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I associate myself with what the Prime Minister said about Jamaica and indeed all those islands and countries affected by Hurricane Melissa? Our thoughts and prayers are with all those affected. And I'm sure the whole House will want to join me in paying tribute to Prunella Scales, Mr. Speaker. I suspect I'm not the only member of the House with a Fawlty Towers DVD box set. She will be greatly missed.
That is, like, possibly the most Lib Dem Houses of Parliament comment I've ever heard. He is such a fucking Lib Dem, bro. It's actually just... They need a leader who's less of a Lib Dem, to be honest. They actually do need a leader who's a bit less of a Lib Dem.
Mr. Speaker, across Europe, in countries like Poland, Germany and France, we've seen evidence of dangerous Russian interference in their politics. Last month, the former leader of a major party in Wales pleaded guilty to taking bribes to make
Yes, Davey's my guy. Ed Davey is my fucking guy. Bring up Nathan Gill in the House of Commons. Let's go. Start pointing out the fact there are a bunch of fucking Russian shills. Let's go.
Russian statements. The evidence shows Nathan Gill was a close confidant of the current Reform Party leader for years. So does the Prime Minister agree with me that it's time we had an in-depth investigation into Russian meddling and money in British politics?
Yes.
Joining his comments on Prunella Scales, and on this question of Russian interference, it is a serious problem in countries across Europe, including in our country, where it's a constant threat. And Mr. Speaker, for NATO allies, the conflict in Ukraine and dealing with Russian aggression is the #1 issue. And that is why I have to say the Reform Party would be an absolute disaster for our defence. We are a trusted member of NATO. We wouldn't be a trusted member if we were Putin friendly. We are leading the coalition of the willing, giving security and comfort to 30 other countries that will collapse under reform because they're Putin friendly, and it'd be a real threat to our defence and our security.
Sir Ed Davey.
Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for the Prime Minister's reply, and I agree with him on Ukraine, but I do hope he will look at an investigation into this Russian interference in our politics. Mr. Speaker, last week I questioned how he can accept the damage of Brexit.
That's good from Ed Davey, but he needs to keep bringing this up. They need to keep bringing this up. I want Lib Dems pushing hard for an investigation into this shit,
while refusing to do anything meaningful about it. The damage is clear, with the Financial Times reporting that lower productivity growth alone has blown a £20 billion black hole in the public finances, just part of the Brexit black hole that Conservatives and Reform will not apologise for. Last week, he rejected my plan for a new customs union. So can I ask him what action he will take to change the Brexit deal, or is he just planning to complain about it?
Well, he must have overlooked the fact that there was a UK-EU summit earlier this year in which there were 10 strands to the change that we've already agreed in relation to relationship with the EU, including closer trading relationships, including closer work on defence and security, and that is an iterative process that we will continue into next year. But he's absolutely right about the botched deal of the last government, the damage that's done to our economy, and we're just seeing some of the figures coming through in relation to that. That's one of the reasons, or one of the factors behind the way they crashed the economy.
Jonathan Brash.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. So, right, there should be something else, though. Yeah. Okay. Dude, how do I see the full... Thank you for £2.
Governments were...
No, not here. Well, is it not just like a full long video?
In many ways, this is unfinished business. On June 23rd, 2016, in the biggest democratic exercise in the history of these islands, the British people, despite being...
Yeah, how do I see the full fucking thing? Parliament, ECHR votes today, full video. Do I have to sign in to fucking do this, don't I? I can't do fuck BBC. House of Commons, Parliament TV, recently archived. No? Is it none of this? Human rights and the regulation of AI? That's not the one, is it? No. Does Sky not stream it?
On Saturday.
What point of the day was it? How many hours ago was it? That's PMQs. Bro, how can this be so fucking hard to find? Hello? I go to a random book. Kabatu. Tried to hand myself in, but police ignored me. That's the escaped migrant from the other day. Please, I need to be deported, please. I can't believe this isn't just here. Welsh Affairs, Westminster, like, what are any of these? Which point of the day was it?
Order. We start with questions to Secretary of State for Wales. Sarah Bull.
Question number 1, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, there's
Minister,
Nige.
welcome.
There's Nige.
Thank you. An important role in scrutinising the government.
Okay. Here we are. Found it. We got it. All right, so Nigel, I believe, put forth some, like, I don't know what any of this is about, like a 10-minute rule motion. I don't know what any of this stuff's about. There was, like, a small vote, basically, on the ECHR, European Convention on Human Rights, which is just a generally good piece of legislation that a lot of other legislation is built off of that came up with after the Second World War, after the Holocaust, to try and prevent another Holocaust that Nigel Farage wants to scrap because, well, I guess we better not speculate too much on why he wants to scrap that. But, yeah, there's basically no reason to scrap it because all of the immigration cases that they think would be affected by it never actually reach any European court. They all happen in our courts. So all the issues with appeals and whatever are in our courts. And also only a tiny percentage of appeals are ever approved. So it's not even like there's big issues with the law. It's just like processing stuff. So all the complaints about it are completely redundant, stupid. Like, it's atrocious. It's like truly one of the most dog shit discussions ever. Even the slight restrictions we have about like detainment and stuff like that, we can actually kind of reinterpret, I believe, the law a little bit, and we do have some wiggle room. Plus, we actually don't even really have to like totally abide it anyway. It's very difficult to enforce. So, regardless, pointless to leave it. Totally pointless to leave it. We only came up with it to prevent another Holocaust, and Nigel Farage wants to leave it for nondescript reasons that don't make any sense when you look into them. So guys, just don't speculate about why Nigel Farage wants to leave a piece of legislation that was made to prevent another Holocaust. Just don't think about that too much. Don't allow yourself to speculate on that too much. But they voted on it today. Nigel Farage and Ed Davey spoke about it. Let's have a look.
And written parliamentary questions have an important role to play. I know the Procedure Committee takes an interest in these matters, so the honourable member may also wish to raise this with that committee. We now come on to business of the day, to the 10-minute rule motion. I call Nigel Farage.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I beg to move that leave be given to bring in a bill to make provision for the United Kingdom to withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights and to make further provision in connection with the withdrawal of the United Kingdom from that convention. In many ways, this is unfinished business. On June 23rd, 2016, in the biggest democratic exercise in the history of these islands, the British people, despite being told by all the businesses and all the trade unions and much of the press and most of this House,
didn't you promise to leave?
Managed, despite everything, children be quiet.
Okay, so basically, my sense, I think the Lib Dems basically just sat around Nigel and the rest of the Reform MPs to just sit there and make noise the entire time he's trying to talk. They literally just like blocked them in and sat there to just yap between themselves, be loud, be fucking annoying, and cause him problems while he's trying to talk about this. So, honestly, W Lib Dems, and there's an Ed Davey tweet to go along with this that I saw earlier. It was like a quote tweet of the vote result. When you protected British people's rights from the authoritarian regime, Nigel Farage craves. There's him sitting there having a little half pint with a smile on his face.
All the businesses and all the trade unions and much of the press and most of this House,
didn't you promise to leave?
Managed, despite everything.
Danny Kruger sitting there, fucking Danny Kruger, going, didn't you promise to leave? Why don't you show some respect to another member? Why don't you show some respect to another member? Fucking Danny Kruger, prick. Reptile prick.
Children, be quiet. Managed.
Order.
Ooh. Dude, I fucking love Parliament, man.
Children, be quiet. Managed.
Order. I will be responsible for maintaining order in this chamber. Nigel Farage.
Yes, Madam Deputy, I'm sure you will allow me the opportunity to continue to try and say something without such constant interventions, and I thank you for that. And we voted clearly by a massive margin for the British people to bring back...
Dude, they're literally not stopping. They're such pricks, man. He can't get it out.
Interventions, and I thank you for that. And we voted clearly by a massive margin for the British people to bring back the sovereignty.
Massive margin. I mean, they're right. It was like, what was the Brexit vote difference? 52 to 48. Massive margin.
And by the way, what makes me laugh about this isn't just the sovereignty of this country, it's the sovereignty of this very chamber and the people within it to bring power back to this very place. And that is what we voted for. And of course, one of the most important subsets, one of the biggest reasons for that vote to happen was the deep alarm at the huge numbers of people.
I mean, 4 isn't really that big, and it's also, especially when you consider the turnout, it's also even less big when you recognise the fact that that vote was, what, 9 years ago? And the votes for Leave skewed older, and we have since been through a pandemic that hit old people the hardest, and just 9 years of time. So that margin is even less relevant than there ever was.
Coming into our country. The fact that effectively we had open borders, making us poorer in every way. Now, of course, our membership of the European Council, of the European Convention, and then its writing into British law in 1998 kind of enshrined this, and it's what I think Tony Blair wanted us to do. Now, I believe that Brexit cannot be complete, all the while we're subject to a foreign court and frankly...
By the way, the ECHR has nothing to do with the European Union, by the way.
A piece of legislation brought in by the Blair government upon which judges can choose their own political interpretation. We are not sovereign, all the while we are part of the ECHR, the European Council, and its associated court. It's as simple as that. And do you wonder...
Dude, what was that?
ECHR, the European Council, and its associated court. It's as simple as that. And do you wonder... It's marvellous to see the intellectual levels of debate in this place, it really is. Do you wonder...
Nigel's all about intellectual debate, Annie. Nigel's all about intellectual debate. That's Nige. That's Nige. He loves data and figures, Nige.
Do you wonder that out in the country there is growing frustration?
Order. Can I remind members that the honourable gentleman has a 10-minute rule bill in front of this House and should be listened to without interruption. Nigel Farage.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I was talking about fear growing in the country, anger growing in the country. I sense there's also a bit of that growing in this chamber as well. We do not believe, I do not believe, that it is right that we should, when it comes to controlling our borders, when it comes to who should be able legally to live, work and settle in this country, or indeed who should not be allowed to stay in our country, for this to be under the remit, firstly, of judges in Strasbourg, who, by the way, are jurists, most of them not even legally qualified, and secondly, under the political control...
Literally, like, none of the cases ever go there. None of the cases, like, ever go there. It's just, like, totally irrelevant.
...of judges in this country who now can make their own interpretation of what we've understood for many, many years to be British common law. This bill intends to restore the power of this Parliament, the power of all of you.
Okay, so since 1980, 29 deportation or extradition cases have been heard at the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg, with the UK winning 16 of them. So there have been less than 30 cases in 45 years, right? And we won most of them. So this is like the most nothing, irrelevant issue ever. The most nothing, irrelevant bullshit issue ever.
As MPs, to actually be in control of the things that really matter most to all of your voters, whether they supported you or not. This bill intends to return British common law and to bring back some ideas, rather than state-given rights, of birthrights, of liberty and freedom. These are things that over centuries...
Yeah, how do you secure your rights without a state? How do you secure your rights without a state, dude? Please explain that one to me.
...served our country far better than any other nation in the European continent. This is about liberty, it's about freedom, it's about democratic control. And just think of this. Whatever election result there is, even if 650 of us wanted to change rules on who can come across the channel and who can stay, we could be overruled by a convention we signed up to.
You could have like something brought against you, like you could have a case brought against you, yeah. I don't know if they can actually overrule, like they can't actually enforce it really. It's kind of difficult to do, and it kind of requires people playing ball with it. But that's not happened. It's never been an issue. Nigel, you could have a seizure. How terrible would that be?
In 1998, we could literally, don't shake your heads, we could literally be overruled. Literally be overruled. So this is about sovereignty. This is about sovereignty of the country. It's about sovereignty of our parliament. It's about our voters being able to choose the future course and direction of our own country. And that is why this matters. And let's just remind ourselves, very briefly, of some of the worst examples of where the ECHR takes away our democratic rights. To begin, and it's really interesting, isn't it? It was the last Conservative government who decided to put in place the Rwanda legislation. In theory, very good.
No, not very good in theory at all. Not very good in theory at all. A terrible idea from the outset. Awful, terrible idea from the outset, actually. That wouldn't have fixed any issues.
As a deterrent. Unless you support the criminal gangs, yes, it was a very good idea. A very good idea.
Yeah, one person got sent to Rwanda under that scheme. One person got sent. And it had like a max capacity of like 200. So it was just like totally irrelevant. It would not have even made a fucking dent. It was like worthless. It was so fucking pointless.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
The trouble was it couldn't happen. And why couldn't it happen? Well, because if you think about the Rwanda deportation flight in 2022, at 10 p.m. at night, a single judge in Strasbourg, one without any legal qualification, decided on the basis of Article 3 the flight could not take off. And we go on, of course, to...
Yeah, and then we processed the appeal, and then he was deported, right? Because we didn't actually lose anything there. We were told basically like, oh, well, you've got to do more process here or some shit. And we did, and then we deported him. Because it doesn't actually fucking matter. Like, yeah, so sometimes you have to do an extra appeal. But it's not actually the reason why the process is so backed up. It's our own laws and our own courts and our own guidance that are the issues with the deportation process right now.
Horrendous stories, particularly under Article 8, the right to a family life. Well, whose family? The families of British people or the families of those who've come into Britain, in some cases illegally, and then been waved through? Some of it is disgusting beyond belief. A Pakistani child sex offender dodged deportation on the basis that his removal would harm the children that he'd had in this country. And this goes on and on and on. Brazilian murderers, rapists, many others who claim under Article 8
Brazilian,
the right
say no
to
more.
a family life. Well, what about British families?
Yeah.
What about their rights?
Yeah.
What about their freedoms? What are your priorities here as members of this place?
Brazil mentioned,
Now, of course,
Brazil
we'll be
mentioned,
told
Brazil mentioned, Brazil mentioned.
that by leaving this completely outdated 75-year-old convention. And by the way, I fully understand why in the 1940s this was signed up to, because the other European countries did not have constitutions, did not have democracies that could pretend them again, that could prevent them going into extremism. But it's now completely outdated. We are not Russia. We are not Belarus. Indeed, countries like New Zealand, Australia, Canada. Nobody in this room would say they're barbaric or backward countries. They defend freedoms, but I don't defend state-given
Dude, the heckling is
rights,
brilliant.
because they can be taken away.
But, dude, how else do you get your fucking rights? How else do you get your rights without the state fucking protecting them? It's like the dumbest shit in the world. If there's no one securing your rights, you don't have them. You can say, oh, I've got God-given rights till you're fucking blue in the face. But if there is not a fucking military and a state to ensure you keep those, then you don't have them.
By the very state that has been given to them in the first place. I've never seen so many Liberal Democrats in all my life. It was in mine.
So who are going to stop Yeah, he's getting fucking mocked, dude. Never seen so many Liberal Democrats in my life. They're all here for you, buddy. They're all here for you.
Order! Continue.
I would ask the Liberal Democrats and others in this
dude,
place.
literally the whole rest of the fucking chamber is empty, bro. It's so funny when you actually see it.
Very state that has been given to them in the first place. I've never seen so many Liberal Democrats in all my life. It was in mine.
Order!
It's just like literally just the Lib Dems just like showed up and just sat around it, just all around it, right by Nige. Oh man.
Continue.
I would ask the Liberal Democrats and others in this place, what is wrong with you? Do you not believe? Do you not believe?
We've got a list for you. You've only got 10 minutes for it.
Do you not believe this country is good enough to make its own laws? Do you not believe that the country that since Magna Carta has developed the principle of common law and with its faults perhaps been the best ever developed by civilization? Do you not believe we're good enough to make these rules? Or we stick with outdated conventions preyed on by human rights lawyers in this country? I move this bill will restore democratic trust and faith in this once great nation. Thank you.
The question is, the honourable member have leave to bring in the bill. Ed Davey, up to 10 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The speech we've just heard totally misrepresents the European Convention. And the proposer's failure to mention the huge benefits and rights the European Convention has brought to millions of British people says it all. For those attracted by the argument we've just heard, let me give them one strong reason to think again. Russia, under Vladimir Putin, is the only country to have withdrawn from the European Convention on Human Rights. Now, maybe that's what attracts the honourable gentleman for Clacton to it. After all, he said that Putin is the world leader he most admires. Russia, a country where those who oppose the regime are mysteriously pushed off balconies.
I can't wait till the Zelensky heckling in Parliament. That's going to go crazy.
A political opponent like Alexei Navalny, Putin has even jailed lawyers who dared represent him. Things not allowed under the European Convention. But as we've seen a leading political ally of the honourable member, Nathan Gill, imprisoned for taking Russian bribes, perhaps we shouldn't be surprised that the Reform Party is so keen to follow Russia. And besides Russia, Madam Deputy Speaker, where else are people's hard-fought-for rights under attack? Trump's America. Of course, the US isn't part of the European Convention, yet its citizens have benefited from something similar, the US Constitution, designed to check the power of tyrants and protect the individual from the state. And just like the honourable member's desire to remove people's rights here, his hero, Donald Trump, is doing the same in America, attacking the courts and the rule of law, even inciting a violent mob against the US Congress to overturn an election. But of course, the honourable member for Clacton has called President Trump an inspiration. So if you want to know the member for Clacton's intentions for British people's basic rights and freedoms, just look at Putin's Russia or Trump's America. Madam Deputy Speaker, that isn't patriotic. It is deeply un-British, and he should be ashamed. Unlike the honourable member for Clacton, I am proud of our country. I love our country. I am proud that Britain helped create the European Convention.
You guys start Trump off with your pedophile aristocracy? Well, Ed Davey boycotted the state visit, so fuck you. Ed Davey owns you.
On human rights, championed by Winston Churchill himself.
Was it Ed Davey? I think it was Ed Davey.
The convention protects the very people who need it most.
Yeah, it was.
Our elderly and most vulnerable, so they may live and grow old with dignity. Our children, so that those facing horrific abuse have better protection. It also upholds our freedom of speech, so that the press and public can criticise those in power without fear. And it protects our peaceful right.
Ed Davey's pretty good. He's got all the right points. He's an okay speaker. They just need someone with a little more sauce. They need someone with a little more sauce than Ed Davey. He's just like, he can be funny, but he just doesn't. He can't quite get people, you know, going.
Right of protest. 70 years ago, Britain became the first country to ratify the Convention as a leading voice on the global stage for human rights and the rule of law. That is our history. That is who we are.
Starmer sucks sometimes, but he has flashes of brilliance. Okay, there is a great speaker and great politician in Starmer. I feel like he's just so buried in political consultancy and shit that it's just like it doesn't come out.
At our best, and yet the honourable member for Clacton wants us to forget our history, dump British values, undermine the rule of law, and row back on people's hard-won rights. I say no. To help get over how wrong the honourable member and the Reform Party and the Conservatives are on this, let me give some examples. Madam Deputy Speaker, when people died because of poor care at Stafford Hospital, their families secured change because of these laws. When British troops died in Iraq because of poor equipment, the Supreme Court ruled that the government was accountable because of these laws.
And they were also
after 96 people were killed in the Hillsborough disaster, and the victims themselves were blamed, and their families finally got the truth because of these laws. And when the Metropolitan Police failed to properly investigate the horrific assaults of John Warboys, his victims were able to take the police to court because of these laws. Time and again, the European Convention and its British twin, the Human Rights Act, have brought justice for our people, protected them from gross misconduct and unfair treatment. These laws help individuals hold the powerful to account, to hold governments to account. These laws can get justice when the elite and powerful cover up and abuse their power. So it's clear, isn't it, Madam Deputy Speaker, the honourable gentleman isn't about standing up for the individual, for the ordinary person, for the people with no voice. Madam Deputy Speaker, the honourable gentleman is the friend of the elite and the powerful. And Madam Deputy Speaker, if we do not defend our human rights here at home, how can we possibly persuade other countries of the importance of human rights for their own people? If we do what Reform wants, the biggest cheers will come from the Kremlin and from Beijing, from Tehran, from Pyongyang, and from dictators and authoritarian regimes the world over. That would be a betrayal of everything our country stands for. and his plan would damage our country's ability to shape our world. Leaving the convention would be another nail in the coffin of Britain's unique soft power, where we have so often in the past influenced world events for the better by being part of international agreements, by upholding international law, by leading. Now, of course, the honourable gentleman has made his career by damaging our country and our influence.
Facts.
Remember how he led the campaign for Brexit with his Conservative friends? And we know what a total mess that's turned out to be. He and his friends argued Brexit would cut immigration, but immigration has gone up. Just look at how badly he's betrayed the people he claims to speak for. Brexit made the small boats crisis possible. Before Brexit, we effectively had a returns agreement with every EU country, the Dublin system. A deterrent that worked. And now undocumented migrants are trying to reach the UK because they know they can't be returned. Because, thanks to the honourable member, his Brexit ripped up Britain's rights to return people with no right to be here. And people who should have claimed asylum elsewhere in Europe, they may shout, they caused it. Yeah! Now let's look at one of our closest allies, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Republic of Ireland, and look at a vital part of our country, Northern Ireland. The Good Friday Agreement references the European Convention 7 times. The guarantee of basic rights and freedoms in the Convention was fundamental to securing the Good Friday Agreement, to ending the conflict, to stopping the bombs, to getting peace. And yet he stands here today, prepared to risk peace in our country. How utterly shameful. Madam Deputy Speaker, as we approach Remembrance Sunday, let us never forget the sacrifices made for our freedoms today. And let us never forget the lessons that greatest generation of British people learnt and passed on to us. I think the veterans will notice what Mr. Barrett said. Our greatest generation, Madam Deputy Speaker, showed us that we needed these laws to protect people from state abuse, to stop authoritarian government and tyrants, and to defend people's rights. The post-war generation knew how costly far-right-wing populism had been for our country and our people. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, for our greatest generation, for British people today, and for our democracy, vote against this bill.
The question is that the honourable member had leave to bring in the bill. As many of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. Division, clear the lobby.
Wow. So yeah, there were 250 MPs there to vote, and then it was no by far, obviously, because it was a doomed bill. It was just a publicity stunt from Nigel. Anyway. That's Parliament today, guys. That's what happened in Parliament today.